Going live. Welcome to the Out There channel, live stream 179. We'll just cue the music and be with you in a minute. We are go. Hey, ready? This will be a couple of hours probably, or more. Truth sounds like hate to those who hate the truth. Hello. Hello. Good to be back. There we go. Switch cameras here. So, whoops. Yep. Thought that play because it can chew up extra CPU. Alright. Just do a volume check on Robert. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, guys.
Okay, sounds perfect.
Well, that's good.
I don't hear any crackle like last time, so we might have it this time, hopefully. We got 3 watching. Hello out there. What have I forgotten? Anything? Okay, so Robert will be talking about his ET visitation that he had. How long ago was it? That he had it?
Around about 6 months, Paul.
Okay, so mine was the most recent craziness that happened with the realistic dream that I talk about in live. Well, which one was it? Live 75 or something? Now let me just type up the welcome message. Been having trouble with the spacebar on this new laptop. But I hit it harder for some reason. So this is about Rob's ET visit. There's quite a bit to go over actually. And the Hopi Ant People again. And Hellier, which I've now finished watching. And various debunks. See how we can see what we can fit in. Video debunks. So we've got some crazy people making crazy claims again. So what's Renee up to? How's it going?
Yeah, the big Asian face in Antarctica. I seen that earlier.
That was
Need
third.
to have a closer look at that.
It's just seeing patterns in the clouds again, you know.
Yeah,
that was third phase of the.
Yeah, so a lot of people saying that.
That was third phase of the
moon. Need to have a
moon.
closer look though. Oh dear.
That was third phase of the moon. That put it out.
Okay.
There's nothing special. This one here. Probably got the sound going to the wrong place too. I don't want to listen to them too early. Stop, you silly program. See how it... I always turn this autoplay off. It always puts it back on. I really hate Google. I always turn that off so it doesn't skip to the next video, but always turns it back on. It's not saved the set. Probably have to disable the blocks for Brave probably first. That's so annoying. But yeah, alien face. Here we go. Does it really look like an alien face? Looks like a crevice in the snow there. Looks like a mountain ridge here, which is part of the same ridge here, by the looks of it, where the snow hasn't fallen in so much. It looks like there's been like a, what do you call it, avalanche there, so some of the snow's gone down. There's another hole in the ground, and it looks like a ridge of another mountain coming down this way. So if you unclip it, what does it look like? You know, there it is here. Are you there, Robert?
Yeah. It's
Are you
spooky,
watching?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really see it alien. I see shadow play. Looks like the sun's blocking the top of this bit here. See
I can see why people are probably excited about it, though.
No, but if you go down to Street View and do a spin around, it's not going to look very impressive. It's going to be like the face on Mars business, you know, the rock.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Why is it not going? Have we got the coordinates to it? Trust Rene to put us off track here, but anyway. I've got to change the volume direction too. And that keeps changing too, that's quite annoying.
Notice the whole structure of the face, how it has symmetry to it, and what are these anomalies sticking out?
Yeah, I got to debunk some of their stuff today as well. It's never ending. Have they got the coordinates to it? That's probably better to look at. No coordinates. You know how you can paste a link? They just got that in there. So we have to copy and paste it. I think if you spin around on Google Earth, it'll look different probably. And if you go back in time, of course, when there's less snow or more snow. But yeah, I'm not sure if they're using Google Earth or not.
I think it was the Google Earth paid version, you know.
Yeah. Hey, Yan, how's it going?
Hi, Jan.
Hopefully I've got your name right. If you hear any crackling at the end of the sentences or words, let us know, because I'll keep an eye on it. As it sounds terrible when it's encoded on Google. Unfortunately, we don't hear it in the headsets. It's only when it goes through to Google where we have the problem. So, is that going to work? It looks like it's doing something. Going to Antarctica. Here we go. Boom. Can we see a face? Yes. There it is. Can we mark that? How do we mark that again? Do you know? Tools. Add. Placeholder, is it? Placement. Face on Earth. Not Mars, but Earth. Now, what would be creepy if it actually looked like the one on Mars, right? Like it was like if you overlaid it. So that's the sort of thing I would do. I'd go a step further, get an image of it, and actually overlay it with the face on Mars and see how dissimilar they are. So how do we rotate? Here we go. He doesn't look very happy there, though. It's amazing how our brains see faces. But it doesn't look like an alien. It looks more Asian, Oriental, or maybe
that's what
Mongol.
Denny said. Yeah,
Mongolian, maybe. It doesn't look very happy. I've been abducted. Ooh, got a probe. Ouch. Or a needle in the back. What else can you do here? You can't do street view because it won't allow you to do that, will it? Have we got back in time? Let's see, it's back in time. How do we do that? History, wasn't it? View historical images. There we go, let's go to change it. Ooh, didn't have too much images back then, did they? 19... what time is that? 99. Is it going to go forward? Why is it not going forward now? That's kind of weird. It goes left and right. Alright, so it can only skip. So they got one image, which was really bad. And then the next one was 2009, which is that one. And then 2010, that one. And then that one, 2012. 13. So that's the latest one, is it? 13?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so where exactly is this then?
Why, where or why?
Where?
Where? It's in those coordinates. You just have to paste it into Google Maps.
Okay.
So yeah, we just got one with a sunset there, by the looks of it. Here we go. It doesn't seem to have changed much though, so I suppose it's changed a wee bit. Let's see, the hole got bigger there. It's got smaller here, it's filled in more. That one's probably the better one, 2012 there.
Mm-hmm.
Looks more golden. And that one looks more, you know, the mouth has changed a wee bit, I think. Should emanate it. See how the mouth has changed? It's alive! See that? It's on a different angle. Probably, looks like a mountain ridge going up here, right? Like the peak of a mountain. And there we got like a crevice going down that side and one going down that side. You got to remember there were so many volcanoes in Antarctica that forms all these mountains. So they don't get formed for nothing. They're formed millions of years ago, but they're still active volcanoes down the South Pole there, generating heat. So yeah, we've talked about that before. But that, yeah, it's sort of a sidetrack there because of Rene. But you're going to talk about your case in a minute, so
Yeah, whenever
hang
you
on.
want.
Let's see, how many volcanoes? I can't spell it though. And Antarctica. 91. There you go. 91 volcanoes discovered beneath Antarctica's ice. But are they active? Scientists have identified 91 hidden beneath the massive ice sheet. I think there are a few active ones. 12, was it? Mostly more at the south side of it. That you know how they talk about melted holes that suddenly appear and they're saying it's an alien base, or it's actually just the heat from the volcano melting the ice and it falls down. So what do we got here? Analysis found 178 cone-shaped formations beneath the ice, in which what's known as the West Antarctica Rift System. Researchers determined 138 of those to be volcanoes, with 91 undiscovered until now. But how many are active? And of course, there's a thing called something blood, where it looks like blood pouring into the sea. It's rich in iron down there, and it's melting the rich iron soil into the ice as it melts, and it drips down the side of the thing. It looks like it's bleeding. It's got a special name. I've covered it before anyway. I can't remember what the name was. So how many were active? I didn't see it mentioned here. They got the title. Dozens of newly determined formations. The volcanoes active. If one of those volcanoes were to erupt, it could further destabilize West Antarctica ice sheets. But they haven't answered the question. Resulting in melted ice that could raise the sea levels, correct? But where's the answer? There's no answer there. I think there's a few of them that are active. Anyway, let's see what else we can find. Totally missed giving us the answer there from what I saw. They talked about eruptions, but we know there's steam. How many volcanoes in Antarctica are active? Come on, someone's got to give us the answer. Let's see. And that was 2008. An active volcano has been unexpectedly discovered beneath a rapidly instability. Rapidly, and it ends there. So they found one. A list of volcanoes in Antarctica. I think it's actually got some. I put up a graphic before where they're all located anyway. Well, there you go. There's a whole heap of them with GPS coordinates. I guess you can click on that and it loads it into the map. We've got a lawnmower outside, so hopefully it won't annoy us too much. I'm not sure if you can hear that in the background. Anyway, we move on. So, you want to talk about your story? Do you want to go on the big screen?
There we go. Not really bothered either way, you know.
Yeah, wave. You're on the big screen.
Hey.
So, yeah, you want to talk about your case and then we'll move on?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, okay. I went to bed, it was around about midnight. Yeah, it's quite an early night for me, to be honest.
It is.
And yeah, I think I'd been sleeping around about 1 hour when I woke up because I felt that something was pushing on the side of my neck, the left side of my neck. It wasn't with any great force, but it felt like someone gently pushing a finger against that left side of my neck. And anyway, it was enough to wake me up. I opened my eyes, and at the same time, obviously, as you do, it's an instinct. I lashed out with my left hand to try and move whatever it was away from me. At that point, I made some kind of contact with the outside of my left hand with something that I felt as kind of like a light sandpaper. At this point, the pressure on the neck stopped, and I made eye contact with this thing that looked something like an alien ray. At least the top half, anyway. It was spindly and a large head. At this time, it was side on to me. Okay, now my body is kind of, I'm awake, but I could still move, but I was kind of limp. I didn't have like full strength, and I didn't have full capacity, if you like. Now I managed to sit up, and this thing was now moving away. I just had this feeling I wasn't supposed to wake up at that moment. Now, as it moved away, it moved between, I was going towards a gap between my wardrobe and a set of drawers that were at the bottom of the bedroom, only about 6 feet away from where I was sleeping. And then that was like the focal point of what I seen. It turned round and looked directly at me. I was looking directly at it. Big, large eyes. And at this point, I'm reaching out for the light switch, and then suddenly I get this feeling that everything's okay. It's all going to be fine. And I just flopped back onto the bed and fell asleep. Now, what part of me was telling me everything was okay? There's something non-human in my bedroom, and I thought it was okay. And that doesn't add up, does it?
Yeah.
So I didn't get the light switch on, but it's important as well to mention that I have the bathroom light on when I sleep. I've tripped over the dog too many times. He sleeps at the bottom of the bed sometimes, you see. And I get up and I've tripped over him. So I leave the bathroom light on so I can see what I'm doing, you know, when I go to the toilet and back during the night. So anyway, I wakes up in the morning, and the first thing I do, I've got total recall of this dream or whatever it was. And I tell you what, it didn't feel like a dream. It didn't even feel like a nightmare. It was just surreal, to be honest. And the first thing I did was look to see where it disappeared between the wardrobe and the chest of drawers. Of course, nothing was there. And then I spent the whole of the next day and many days after just trying to contemplate what had actually happened. It could, but you have to take into account that, you know, UFOs and aliens are my thing. And I probably went to bed that night like I do most nights, with a head full of UFOs and aliens.
Did you have any ringing? Did you have a ringing in your ears? Do you remember?
No, I don't. But I've had that on many occasions, and sometimes that's quite disturbing.
Because that normally means visitation is going to happen, as the ringing in the ears. But it doesn't always happen. You said this thing walked like an insect. Would you say it was more of a mantis with like a grey, like this one here, with the big eyes? Or would you say it was more?
No, that's just too. It was more the guy on your right there. It was more looking more like him.
So let's have a look through these ones.
Moved away from it there.
Yeah, just go through. So these are all the mantis ones. So you said it walked like walked funny.
Yeah,
how do you explain that?
Yeah, it don't get me wrong. It moved very efficiently, but it seemed to have. I mean, we walk from our hip, and we've got flexors in the knees, and we've got flexors at the ankles, haven't we? But this seemed to have like a fourth flexor that was somewhere between the ankle and the shin, or maybe a third of the way up the shin. And its knees almost looked too far forward. It didn't walk like a human would walk.
How would you explain that, though?
No.
Someone in high heels?
I can't explain it, except I've never seen anything like it.
So how big was the head on this thing, do you remember?
Very similar to that little like light green guy you've got there.
Which one, though? We're just going through all the
that
alien
one,
grays.
the one that
that one there?
Yeah, okay, that one your mouse is over is, that's pretty much just like it. Although the head is maybe a little bit too wide.
Too wide?
Yeah.
Because that one looks about the right size head, but the eyes a wee bit too small for the one I saw.
Okay.
And that head there is too skinny for the one I saw. That's getting closer to what I saw. This one here.
Yeah.
That's not
When
alien.
it made eye contact with me, it didn't look particularly menacing.
Right.
No,
No,
I'm sure that
mine didn't either in my dream, which is kind of strange.
Mhm.
But it's funny that this has only started happening. This is the first time I ever had an alien dream, ever. Normally it's demons or normal people, but never aliens. Kind of strange. And Il said if you talk to him, you might have strange things happen in future. And he's not wrong. We've had lots of strange stuff happen since I've been in contact with him pretty much on a daily basis. So he might be the connection point. Ever since we've done his mum's story of the underground base with her and Von Braun. If people haven't listened to that yet, you should go and listen to the interview we did. And I did some animations and put up a lot of graphics for it as well. And it's this amazing story. But apparently she was pregnant with him at the time she was in this alien base. So I just kind of wonder if he's a alien baby. Or they've modified it somehow, modified him somehow. And they're just keeping an eye on him. So I'll just try to see where mine is. I did have one similar. So mine was more that type size head, but the eyes was bigger. And the thing is, they sort of had skin that sort of was a bit like the deep sea creatures that sort of glowed with the fluorescent bacteria or whatever it is, chemicals they use. And it's sort of self-illuminated, like a torch. But the eyes were big, glossy black things, and I didn't have any fear of it whatsoever, which is kind of weird. And it almost didn't seem like it was a real creature. But obviously, it looked at me, and I couldn't move at all after that point. So the staring at me sort of paralyzed me even more. That one was controlling my movement. Apparently, if the eyes turn blue, that's meant to relax you. So the black eyes meant to turn...
I don't know about that.
They're meant to glow blue. And the stories of aliens with the eyes that turn blue, and that's normally like a reward. It makes you feel really happy and relaxed, apparently, rather than frightened.
Well, Paul, in all the abduction experiences that I've come across, I've never ever heard that one before.
I'll be going over it today, probably. There's a couple of stories out there. There's one on Alien, Alien Case Files, the abduction case. He talked about being abducted and the creature's eyes turned this bright blue colour, which relaxed him. They said if you're good, you'll get the blue, as the quote he said. But there's other people online that have posted contact, and that him and his son talk about these aliens where the eyes glow blue, and and even they said on the blog or forum that they believe it's to relax you so you don't lash out at them, which kind of makes sense. Well, blue's my favorite.
Because although I felt, Paul, although I felt skin feeling, you have to look at it, its skin looked smooth.
Yeah, the skin was perfectly smooth in my one too.
It looked smooth, yeah, but it didn't feel smooth to the...
I only saw the heads, and I only saw it for... in the dream, like 10 seconds each, and of course, because they were sticking a needle in my back, which was really strange. Since then, my back problem's not been so painful as it has been. So maybe they're causing the pain, or maybe they're taking away the pain. I don't know. Il said to thank them just in case they were fixing me. I said, well, did you send them to my place, did you? But yeah, so what side of the bed do you lay normally?
Well, put it this way, to my right-hand side is just the wall and the window. So it was to my left-hand side, hence I lashed out with my left arm.
So that's where the one sticking a needle in was coming across.
But I was all limp. The state I was in, I couldn't have possibly hurt it, I could move, but it was almost like everything was in slow motion.
I felt extremely weak, like I couldn't, like I was so exhausted.
Like a child.
No, it's like I was totally exhausted, like I've been trekking up the mountain and back down and just had no energy left. It's like I
think we're describing the same thing in different ways.
Yeah, and I couldn't move my legs, my lower half of my body in the dream, but I could just move my neck to look around, and got one of my arms working and grabbed hold of the arm of the so-called alien that was sticking a needle in my back. I described and drew a picture of all this on Previous Life if you haven't watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other hand, because I had the cover over my head because it was cold night, to block out the sunlight as well. This was about between 3 and 4 a.m. in the morning, where apparently most abductions occur. And I managed to lift up the cover and then saw the other alien, which looked a bit more vibrant in colour and the big eyes than the other one that was sticking the needle in me. The other one looked more grey. This one was more illuminated and looked peaceful. It's a bit hard to explain it, but about a few seconds after that, I passed out pretty much into this crazy dream. A dream of a dream. Mm-hmm. A dream that went round in circles like it was, like I said, like a tube with an alien head on it. It made no sense whatsoever. I never had any dream like it, and I still haven't had one since like it. So, but yeah, until it happens again, there's no way I'm going to be able to wrap my head around that particular dream, whether it was real or not. And I can now understand why people can be a bit confused. And some believe they've been abducted when they haven't. And I think everything happens for a reason. I think I was meant to have that dream or visitation because I'm actually making connections out there with people like Il from MUFON, who are actually on the ground investigators. None of this BS that's online at the moment with putting up flies or lights in the sky and claiming it's UFOs. We're actually after the actual real truth here. And we're looking for connections and things. And if you look at individual cases, you don't see a connection. But when you look at more multiple sighting cases or people where they've done some decent drawings of what they saw, and then you can start to see connections to some ancient alien stuff, which may possibly explain that they've been around for quite a while, at least thousands of years anyway. And whether it's like an underground human race versus portals coming through a portal, which is more likely, whether that's coming through great distances elsewhere in the universe, or it's actually a multi-universe portal through another dimension, they reckon it's going to be something so strange that humans won't be able to wrap their head around it. Maybe that's why the government doesn't know. They don't know the answers, and they don't know how to protect us from being abducted for experiments. So they're not going to tell you.
I tell you now, it leaves you feeling very disturbed, because I can't let it go. It's I can't erase that from my memory. Obviously, I suppose if some high intelligence wanted to, it could, but it's left that memory there. It was clear as day in the morning.
Yes.
It wasn't like a dream that just fades. A dream just tends to fade within no time.
That's exactly the same with me. It was at the first I didn't realise, I was sort of like groggy, and then I sat there on the edge of the bed and I thought, no back pain. And then suddenly the vision of the aliens come back into my head. Oh, that actually was last night, wasn't it? So I was walking around all day thinking about it, and it was kind of crazy, but your one sounds very similar. But you only saw one, didn't you? You didn't see another one in the background?
Oh, there was definitely, But it was that seminal moment where it turned around and made eye contact. That was the bit where, that's why I think there could have been something telepathic going on. Because that first, the course was starting to panic. Come on, you're going to, aren't you? That ain't supposed to be there. Dog wasn't aware of it, so I wasn't entirely alone.
Well, I didn't panic.
You know, you'd think the
Mine,
dog
mine
would
was,
be
mine
going,
was, mine was like the Daryl Sims punch first, and then ask questions later, because it's a home invasion, isn't it? You're either going to go defensive or you're going to run. It's two options, but there's no way.
fight or flight.
There's no way you would have any energy to grab a gun and shoot him. Basically, from my experience, anyway.
No, I couldn't even make it to the light switch.
What's Vern? He's filling up the side chat here. So, how do we scroll up on this? It's the simple things in life which are what I really struggle with. My bloody blood type. Vern Riggers, he's got an unknown blood type. I don't know if it's possible or not. I have high blood platelets. But you're spina bifida as well as got cancer, haven't you, Renee? Did you say you had cancer? What is it? Oh, from... How did you say that one? Thrombosis disease. I'm not too sure what that is. I had at least 12 sepsis infections. Oh. My rotor cuff and my tendon. Well, a lot of people won't know what you're talking about there. You got to keep it to lay persons rather than medical talk. Please.
Yeah, I know what he's talking about because I used to weight train, and that's where my qualifications are in that kind of thing. Like, you know, it's quite a nasty injury. The rotator cuff, it's in the shoulder.
Hey, we got Dale on. I didn't realise he was watching. The thing you had about it being okay was your own thought. What did you feel? So did you answer him? The feeling?
Yes, I did. Well, there's no way I would have felt like that. God Almighty, there's an alien in my bedroom, you know. So no, I wouldn't have felt like that ordinarily. No, any kind of intruder, I would have panicked, lashed out. I tried to lash out, and it wasn't happening. I could move my hand just enough to make contact with it.
How did I spell it? Did I spell the title wrong? It's more likely I spelled it wrong. Whereabouts did I spell it? Not there. Must be. See, I can't change the title once the live stream's going. I'm not sure how I spelled it, but I'll check it out later. Normally, clear that up later. But people will know what I'm talking about anyway. So it's funny you got this big white dog. I think I had a picture of him somewhere here on the drive.
Yeah.
But
he's a beast. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think he's at the bottom of the bed where he quite often is, but he usually sleeps at the front door. He gets the draft air, keeps him cool. So he's a Keter type breed, you know. So he likes cool air coming in.
Right. So it's strange that he didn't respond to this.
No, there was nothing. Didn't even shuffle.
So that tells me somehow they have to materialize in your room, or often you hear that Peter Robbins was talking about that they lift you through the roof of the house and you go through the ceiling.
Yeah, I've heard a few accounts like that.
So that tells me there's a craft above the house that's cloaked, that no one sees in the neighborhood. Doesn't make any sound. And they're using some sort of light wave, which is not our normal light. It's some other particle or something from another dimension, energy or something. Who knows? So there's a lot of
people normally experience a white light or a blue light, and although the light is unbelievably bright, it's not so bright that they can't look at it, if you see what I mean, which is hard to comprehend.
Yeah.
It's not like a photon wave of light, you know?
Right. Yeah. Well, photon is just electromagnetic energy. But in sense, everything can be magnetized if you think about it. There's no reason why the atoms in your body can't become like a single pole, and they simply just lift you up. But how they get you going through the ceiling means there's got to be some sort of oscillation that happens that turns solids into jelly, so it's like liquids, and you just pass through it like a jelly. So there's a lot of stuff. If that's all real, which we won't know because maybe the government doesn't know itself, or it won't tell us because they're scared that the whole world's going to panic. And are they got some deal with the aliens where they're getting advanced technology for weapons? Is it always about war, always domination?
There's no evidence for that, so there's absolutely none. I think that's a load of bollocks myself.
Well, Hitler was meant to be obsessed with Aryan race, which was meant to be related to aliens, wasn't it? So, and then they had that sort of a psychic that could communicate with the aliens, a bit like a Billy Meyer. I think that's where Billy Meyer got his ideas from. And what's these guys up in the side chat talking about? So, do we need to draw a picture of what whereabouts you were in the room? What were you laying on?
Is there any point? I mean,
were you laying on your side? No, but were you laying?
Let me finish.
Let me just ask the question first, and then I'll let you go. Were you laying on your back, front, side, or what?
I was asleep, Paul, when I felt that pressure on my neck. So obviously, I was on my back sleeping.
So you sleep on your back, because I can't sleep on the back very well. That's quite interesting. I normally have to sleep on a fetal or on a side because of my gallbladder that I had out was causing me lots of problems. Light can carry electrons. No. Light is emitted from electrons and absorbed into electrons. It doesn't carry electrons.
I think we're missing the point a little bit there, though. There's another thing as well. I mean, people do say in the game that if you take an interest in them, they'll take an interest in you. So maybe that's why so many people that are in the UFO field have had these experiences. I mean, I'm just saying. I'll just leave that out there.
Yeah, I think Il said skeptics that never believed in aliens at all in their life suddenly have abductions happen to them. And he's got a few cases on his book. I said it would be really good if you could come on our live stream and actually give us a rundown of some of these without using the people's names, so we can hear what their accounts are. But some guy went to have a pee in the bushes, apparently, and he got abducted by these alien graces, from what I've heard anyway. And these ones
you never know when it's going to happen.
Yeah, but these guys were like Mick West type people, which don't believe in that sort of thing. That's what he was saying.
Oh, what a shame.
And suddenly it changes the whole life around. So, yeah. I see Mick West is talking about the Epstein thing at the moment too. That it's, who doesn't believe that's not a murder that went down there? Cameras suddenly went out at the same time. And the guard fell asleep, apparently.
Yeah.
And they heard him.
Coincidence,
there's just too much stuff happening in that case. But we're better not to talk about it because Google will punish us. We're not allowed to talk about conspiracies. But the thing is, some conspiracies do come true. And the NSA spying thing was a conspiracy by the other banned person called Alex Jones for many years. And he used to put duct tape over his camera on his laptop because he knew that they could probably access some bugs in the Windows operating system and be listening in on everything. But wasn't there a story that Alex Jones hired this building, which apparently next door turned out to be a CIA operations center or something, which is kind of strange. So it kind of makes it easier for them if they want to keep an eye on him to be next door to him and draw a hole through the wall, whatever. I think there was some stories about that where he rented was government place buildings there, which is really strange. But anyway, moving on, I guess. Do you want to talk anything more about your story at all?
No, no, that story's never going to change, and it's never going to be added to. Nah.
So it happened 6 months ago. 6 months
ago.
ago.
Yeah.
So what?
Thereabouts.
What's that put it at as start of this year? February.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been around about April, a bit earlier, and yeah, maybe less than 6 months ago. You know.
So it's pretty recent, like my one. It's kind of strange. Maybe we're getting to a point where more stuff's going to happen. But often I feel like there's, I've always had that paranormal where I feel that something's in the room, and you get the cold spot thing that happens. But I've also had electrical things and batteries go flat and all that sort of stuff. So it's definitely something not science that can't explain it at this stage. Until we progress, I guess, and open up a bit more. I think a lot of our science is locked in. Everybody's stuck on the Big Bang being the correct theory, but I don't think it is. And that's where we're going wrong, because all the other science is based on this Big Bang concept, and if that's wrong, that means everything's going to tumble down like a house of cards. So, yeah. But didn't one famous person say that Einstein was wrong, and we can now transport people to the edge of the universe or something like that? There was some famous quotes. But people just can't believe that Einstein's wrong. But Einstein's been wrong quite a lot of times. And even Tesla was wrong. But between those two great minds, I think they would have found the answer. But they were friends for a while, Tesla and Einstein, and then they sort of split up over the quantum theory idea, all the quantum stuff. So quantum means very small, doesn't it? It means like it's quantized. So you can type in what's quantum. I think science is going to have to change a lot more than what it is now. I think quantum relies too much on mathematics rather than looking at a common sense thing. Quantum is the minimum amount of any physical entity involved in an interaction. Quantization of energy and its influence on how energy and matter interact. Quantum electrodynamics is part of the fundamental framework for understanding and describing nature. So, but when you talk about quantum, talking about virtual particles, and then it creates physical particles, you think, they're just making up stuff. So they're saying that particles obviously come from another dimension and then enter into our dimension, maybe. I think it's just a way they're trying to comprehend stuff, and they're trying to fit their own mathematical model to it all, and maybe Mother Nature's not that easy. 6 things everyone should know about quantum physics. Let's have a quick look at that one anyway. Quantum physics is usually just intimidating from the set-go. It's kind of weird and can seem counterintuitive, even for the physicists who deal with it. Isn't that true? Okay, so what's the 6 things? Have they got a bullet? Oh, look at it. It just goes on and on and on. I thought it was going to be like 6 little numbers. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Anyway. So we'll talk about this this Hellier thing, where they're talking about Goblins of Kentucky. I've just watched the 5-part series. Did everybody out there watch it? Because what I'm about to cover now, actually, you need to have watched it, really. Yep, I think a lot of stuff in science has been found by pure chance, right? They're looking for something, and then something else happens, and they find some new miracle idea. A bit like what is it? Viruses, and how to defeat them. So, what did Dell say? I thought Dell said something down the side there. Did I miss?
Yeah.
Scroll's pretty quick sometimes. Imagine if we had 200,000 people watching. How do they... You need people to read it, not pay attention to what's on the live stream. Read it and then pull out the best questions or whatever for you. How do they choose certain people? What makes one person more interesting to them? Well, you sort of covered...
Good point, isn't it?
The good thing, maybe it's subconscious, because if you think about it all the time, maybe you're broadcasting while you're sleeping. You're broadcasting into the energy level,
okay, like an antenna.
Yeah, so you're sort of connecting into the ether, as Tesla would put it, and that's where they talk about quantum entanglement, but I think that's a misrepresentation.
Yeah, but what about these people who have absolutely no interest whatsoever?
Well, I think Einstein's theory of spooky action at a distance is better at describing it than quantum entanglement, anyway. So, because you're talking about different atoms interacting, or two different people interacting over the ether from great distances. How you get the same ideas in your head, or you got about say the same thing at the same time, or the same topic. That happens all the time with certain people, like Il. It happens with me and Il Gray from MUFON. But yeah, got to keep your mind open in these things. So we only got 2 watching now. Where's everybody gone? So yeah, Hellier documentary. It's really good. But after I watched it, and I realised this creature here looks very similar to some of the Hopi stuff I saw. And look at that there. Doesn't that look like the same sort of thing that they have drawn there? These are all the pictures on the Hopi Indians drew on the side of the caves. And I'll also, if you read out the explanation here, let's see if I get it read out. This probably is not set right.
One of.
Was it? Oh yeah, it's still set. It talks about people coming from portals and living underground, I think it is. So let's see. Subterranean. I'll just read out that anyway. Come on.
The Hopi Indians have lived on the high desert of northern Arizona for thousands of years. This barren but beautiful landscape was the place where Hopi gods directed them to build a number of villages made up of pueblos, what we today would call stone apartment complexes. Here the Hopi managed to flourish by simply growing corn, beans, and squash with very little rainfall and almost no irrigation. One of the most intriguing Hopi legends involves the Ant People, who were crucial to the survival of the Hopi not just once but twice. The so-called First World, or World Age, was apparently destroyed by fire, possibly some sort of volcanism, asteroid strike, or coronal mass ejection from the sun. The Second World was destroyed by ice age glaciers or a pole shift. During these 2 global cataclysms, the virtuous members of the Hopi tribe were guided by an odd-shaped cloud during the day and a moving star at night that led them to the sky god named Sotuknang, who finally took them to the Ant People in Hopi and Usinum. The Ant People then escorted the Hopi into subterranean caves where they found refuge and sustenance.
So they're talking about subterranean caves, which is very similar to that the Hellier documentary, where they're talking about these little creatures, 4-foot high creatures, coming out and terrorizing remote farmhouses, which is very similar to that Hopskinsville case. Let's see, let's just bring that up as well. It's all in the same area of the Mothman as well, which looks very similar to these creatures, but a bigger version with wings. Goblins.
Yeah, there's an S in there between the okay, that'll do. Should pick up on that.
I think John said I had a spelling mistake, but we'll fix that up later. Kelly Hopkins encounter, which we covered a few lives back now. And you can see here, it looks like the same creatures that was drawn on the cave wall. So if we go back to the Hopi Indians, what they call the Ant People, I suppose they kind of look more that to me, but these ones. But when you look at the drawings though, that's one of those idiots I have to get to. Start looking at the drawings of the antennas and the head shapes. That one there. Look at that one there. That's almost like a demon. And that one especially looks like...
Yeah, but couldn't that be a jackal?
Well, that's an interpretation of ancient paintings, though. But they talk about these aliens taking them underground through portal in the cave, live in caves, which is very similar to
that doesn't tally with modern abductions, does it?
No.
Well,
this
almost every time people are being taken up, floated up, or floated out of windows.
No, yeah, but
I
doesn't mean they're not.
I really don't buy this underground cabin stuff either. I don't buy that. So,
well, I think seeing the connections, it sort of makes sense to me. So we're switching roles here. You're going to be the skeptic and denier, and I'm going to be the other believer. Why couldn't there be? Why couldn't what they call aliens be ancient people that developed underground? So what they call aliens in the past, or maybe aliens
must be extremely advanced, never to have been found out.
Well, why not? Why can't they have cloaking technology? And could it be related?
Keep an open mind.
Couldn't it be related to Bigfoots as well? All right. Talk about skinwalkers and all that. So, what's Renee saying down the side here? Pass through solid walls. Can't quite work out what
he's talking about the Kelly case there.
Yeah.
They were impervious to gunshot, weren't they?
So if you look at the TV series, they got footprints, 3-toe footprints, and they got creatures with big eyes, which look very bad photographs. But people explain, they talk to a girl, because you haven't watched it, Robert. He's going. Because Robert hasn't watched it, he doesn't know what I'm talking about. But in the series, they go and interview various people in the city and countryside, and a few other people can talk about the same things they've seen. And a little girl draws this creature here with the big ears and the black eyes, 4 foot high, looking through her bedroom window, which sounds exactly like this Hopskinsville. So you got to go and watch the series. I posted it on the last live, the links, but you can search it online. It's free to watch, and you'll need 5 hours to watch it, and you need to pay attention to everything that's going on, because it's more like an investigation rather than any evidence at this stage. And Yeah. They haven't actually proven anything other than the guy's disappeared. So they go and look for him. They can't find the guy. He said he moved out in the last email because he couldn't take any more. And because they didn't go straight up there to see him, like other investigations would on TV, they would email him back, and then they wouldn't get a reply for 2 months or 6 months or a year with an update. It sounds a bit like the Mel's Hole thing that was going on. And so instead of going up there straight away to visit him, because they thought maybe that he was a crackpot and didn't believe him, so they go up there later on anyway and try and find him, and they start talking to all the people around the outskirts, or they think they even found his house, but they didn't put a GPS coordinates in, so they couldn't find it in later episodes where they go back and visit again, which is kind of strange. I found that a wee bit strange. I was wondering whether they were acting or whether it was a serious investigation, but I've actually sent these guys my findings. So I said to this guy that's on the host of the show, I was looking at the Hopi Ant People drawings of aliens that came through a portal on a mountain doorway, and been watching your Hellier. I couldn't help notice how the small beings with the big ears could be related to, which is the Hopi images. One even looks goblin-like, which is what I had up there at the moment. That one looks a bit like a goblin. And we got these other ones further down too. So it's quite interesting how someone's interpreted it here. So what's the spiral represent? I don't know. They've got a goat, climb, waves, dead trees. So they're talking about destruction of the planet. Meteorite impact, maybe. Goats, spiral. Could the spiral be with a portal with the
Could be a portal.
Yeah, waves, maybe a tsunami that wiped them out. I know there was a big tsunami off the coast of California once. It could happen again. Footprints, I'm not sure what that means. A runaway, maybe. Footprints, get away. Get away from the coast, maybe what they're trying to say here. Spiral again, grab your family and run to where the goats are. Okay, so that's how they've interpreted it on this one here. So grab all your food, which is your livestock, and get away from the coast, pretty much. So that must have been when the big earthquakes happened, maybe. Or repeat of some of the big quakes in America. Maybe it's going to happen again. So if you live in California, get the hell out of Dodge. Go to the other side, or in the middle of the American country. Goats again, they like their goats. Goats are a nuisance in New Zealand, so they have to cull them off because they live up high in the mountains and they're really hard to get to shoot them. But they destroy and eat everything in sight. Go up, so this guy's got his hand raising up. Goats. So these obviously people, I guess. I don't know. It's a bit hard to tell, isn't it? Climb upwards. So obviously go up to the top mountain tops, maybe. So move away from the coast with your goats and family and go up high. Doesn't talk about going underground here though. Spiral above city. So that sounds like a portal. I'll post a link to it anyway. It's quite an interesting breakdown here.
Yeah, Ray Palmer, the editor of Amazing Stories magazine, which was the first dedicated sci-fi magazine, ever. He used to talk about, subterranean species, and it was actually Fred Chrisman who was involved in the Maui Island incident that sent a lot of his articles to Amazing Stories, which Palmer printed. So yeah, it's nothing new.
Yeah.
That was in the 40s. They came up with that
Okay,
conclusion or concept.
So this one's interesting. Again, we've got the spiral, and we've got a ray of light coming out of it. It talks about destruction of the planet here, or off the land. Giant waves reach the sky. So obviously he's got a star here. So we're talking about really big waves. So we're talking about mile-high waves. And how would that happen? A big change in the sub-platform of the ocean floor, maybe? The tectonic plates?
So, that could just as easily be a hill to me.
Or could this represent the spiral? Could actually be a huge, massive asteroid that's coming towards Earth. Who knows, really? Notice how high up this is. Yeah, it's quite high up. So they were up here, on the edge here, to do this painting here. Anyway, it's posted in the side chat if you want to go and have a look at it. But yeah, you'd have to watch the Hellier thing to really relate to what I'm trying to tell you here, Robert.
Okay.
You're going to have to follow their whole research expedition. Starts off that they get a strange cryptid email from a guy saying he wants help with these goblins are looking through the window and terrorizing his family, which sounds very much like the Hopskinsville encounter.
Yeah, I'll have to catch up on that.
So he replies back to him, and he doesn't hear back from him for 6 months or something, and then finally gets another reply back saying it's still ongoing, no one will help us, and I've set up security lights and cameras and found some footprints. So the guy said, "Oh, can you email it back to us?" And another 6 months passes, or 2 months passes, and he gets them back. And we looked over it in the last live. And then they don't hear any more from him. He disappears. His name's called David Christie. So yeah, I was looking at this thing, and in the series they're talking about underground, talking about a cave next to his house. In one of the emails he talks about the cave next to his house and tunnel system where he believes the creatures are coming out from. And I had a look at the location on the map also with the Hopi people and the location. Look at this here. Look how straight line that is to Hellier, and the four corners are where the Hopi people lived. Look at that straight line, straight across the country. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. In fact, it cuts through Hopskinsville, which is down here too. Could there be an underground cave system that connects both sides of America here? And of course we had the Mothman up here somewhere. Up here. It's all in the same area. I think it's fascinating that that's a straight line, straight across. Bang.
Mothman was just up a bit, wasn't it? Point Pleasant.
Yeah, that's what I said. But look how straight line that is. Straight across the map.
Yeah.
See, I didn't see that until I put the two locations in. Let's go satellite view. Of course, these are the roads to get to it, so don't use them. But you can see here's the straight line. Four corners. Arizona, North Arizona, where the mountains were, where the Hopi lived. To get above the sea level. Of course, look how close to the fault lines it is. It makes sense that they're drawing. So we're talking about a massive wave coming towards them in Arizona here, where John lives. John lives down here somewhere. So he might get a mile-high water thing heading towards his way. Told him to get his RV and get out of Dodge. He needs to come up here somewhere, you know. Nevada. Probably up big mountain ranges here on top of them. Might be safe. But yeah, look, follow that line straight through. It's just right under Hellier. It's very, very almost a straight line. I found it quite interesting anyway. That reference, yeah. I'll just post it. I don't know if I can post it, can I? The Google map. I think it might be too long. I don't know why they limit the size of the comments. It's kind of stupid, really, isn't it? Yeah, it won't let me do it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, only got 200 characters for some reason. It's worse than Twitter. Yeah, you probably have to put that in a short. There's no way to delete the message quickly either, if it doesn't fit. So yeah, you just have to type it in yourself. I just typed in Four Corners and Helliers, Kentucky, and it drew that on the map for us. I'll just close that tab down. Yeah, so carry on what I posted to him. I posted that link there talking about the subterranean, which is very similar to what their story was talking about. Again, you'd have to go and watch the series, and then I posted a clip of the map here showing a straight line almost from location to location. Maybe some connection there, and plus I posted some of the images with the big ears and the eyes and short people. But then I found this program here where it can find other words within, a sentence, and you can put all the letters from a sentence and it'll tell you all the different words that can pop out. And I found if I converted David Christie, which is the guy that emailed, and I said, could it be that the letters form other words? And I saw this in it. ID is the third cave. And I thought, could it be that ID is the third cave as a clue to where they're meant to be going to find these creatures? And the guy's just made his name David Christie out of all the letters. Kind of clever. Have I spotted something here that they haven't? Or could it be like a name of a cave? Dizzy or City or something else I'm missing? Or could it be Disc? Disc? D-I-S? Disc? I don't know. Or could it be caves? Or could it be third something? Disc third? Something third cave. Well, it could be a place name, right? It could be an abbreviation of a place name like South. What's place in that? Diagro, is it in America? I don't know what that would stand for though. Maybe the second. SD the second. Third cave. I don't know. So I just put that up there so they can sort of play around with it themselves. Maybe they'll see a clue in all their research findings, if they're legit about this Hella thing. What else did I see? Alright, it talks about in episode 5 you have a vision of aliens. So what they do is they do an experiment inside the cave. They put ping pong balls. They put ping pong balls on their eyes with LED red lights. And they place white noise static in the headset. And he talks about straight away he hears a whole crowd of people cheering all around him, which is kind of strange because you'd only hear static, right, normally. And then he talks about now he feels like he's in a forest, and that is a circle. And then he talks about being on a train and seeing trees and lamp posts going past, and then goes inside a tunnel, and then out of a tunnel, and then into another tunnel. And then suddenly he feels like he's on his back again inside the forest. And he's raising up, and he sees an alien with blue eyes, bright blue eyes. And at the end he says, I think that was an alien abduction that was happening, that I was experiencing a vision from someone past that died in the cave, their alien abduction. And of course, I pointed out to him there's a TV series called Alien Case Files, Episode 2, which you watched, where the guy talks about the blue eyes on the alien greys, which is quite interesting. But I found this one here, which is a blog post called skinwalkerranch.org, which talks about the same blue-eyed creatures. Official Skinwalker Ranch community, and this guy here says topic: little aliens with glowing blue eyes, which is quite interesting. I'll just get it to read out while I get a drink.
Hi, I live in Vernal, Utah on some private property. My son and I have had a few encounters with some aliens with glowing blue eyes. They are really little, short like maybe a cat, and have messed up arms but have some sort of power over your ability to move. They turn into blue orbs and fly around, disappear, but when they morph into mutated whatever form, they have blue eyes and can control you so you don't hurt them out of fear. I know this sounds crazy, but they hiss or click and disappear, reappear at will. We have spoken to several people who have had encounters with these things. I know this sounds crazy. I hate even talking about this, but they can distort time too. What are they? Has anyone else experienced this?
So what do you think of that story there?
The Skinwalker Ranches in Utah as well, isn't it?
Okay, let's put it on the map.
An awful lot of strange things go on there.
Yeah, but it's also a cavern system, isn't it? So let's put it on the map. Let's put Skinwalker Ranch. And of course, the creatures with the eyes sounds like alien greys again. Skinwalker Ranch to Hellier. Let's see what comes up. Was it not come up? Skinwalker Ranch. Didn't like Skinwalker Ranch for some reason. UFO base. Why hasn't it come up on the map then? Okay, let's try Utah. Why is it not letting me edit it? Okay. What's going on here? Skinwalker Ranch in New Mexico? That's not. Is it New Mexico? Utah? Is that where it is? I thought it was Utah. Skinwalker. That's right, isn't it? That's whereabouts it is. New Mexico, is it? Oh no. I thought it was up here.
No. Skinwalker Ranch isn't the real name, Paul. It's just one given by the Indians.
Yeah. I think it should be on the map though, because it's Google.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to put Skinwalker Ranch down on the map, Paul. It's not called that.
No. It's another place called Skinwalker, Robert.
Yeah,
that's what we're getting.
That's what I mean. So you're looking in the wrong place.
See, look,
Skinwalker
look, this
is in Utah.
Hang on, mate. See the two options I've got when I put Skinwalker. Skinwalker Ranch.
Both of them are useless.
Skinwalker Ranch UFO base. Well, that's the two that's come up.
What?
That's what the two places are come up. Skinwalker Ranch. I think it's called Sherman or something else, isn't it? Ranch.
No, it was the Sherman Ranch. They were the people who ran it.
Okay, I think we might have it now, haven't we, mate? Oh, what's that say? Adam Martin Skinwalker Ranch. Is that what it's called? I think it looks like in the right location now, but you can see it's not. It's above Arizona where the Hopi Indians were. So it sort of fits with the caverns still. That there might be a whole cavern in the hillsides here, mountainsides. And Utah. There it is. It must be the correct location now. Utah, because in Utah. So it's slightly above the Hopi Indian location, which was down here. It's not quite a straight line, but
it was the Navajo Indians that called it Skinwalker's Ranch.
But if we type in the other location down here, we got like a whole area here where similar type creatures have been spotted. 4-foot creatures with.
Oh yeah, it's not just in one place.
No, but these ones sound really similar, with the blue eyes and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, I'm not sure if anyone's answered these people or not, because I found it last night before I went to bed. Thanks for sharing part of your story. Is there any way to hear the beginning of this experience, or maybe explain more how things begin? I wish I had a video or recordings or something to offer in the way of evidence, but even then, it's so hard to know what is real or what has been completely hoaxed. I have lived in basins since 1984. I have seen some awesome UFOs. I have heard other locals' tales of UFOs. My mum had a UFO follow her. That sounds a bit like Vern. Her family down Diamond Mount in 1988. My son saw a blue-eyed alien on our property which turned into a blue orb. So that's kind of strange. And flew away. So it sounds like they got some technology there that cloaks them, or some sort of invisible craft or whatever, or portal opening it where they go into it, because that would be a circle, wouldn't it? So orb shape. So what else we got here? Outskirts. He said it was small with snarled looking arms and dark except for the eyes, and that he couldn't move until it flew away. So that sounds a bit like our experience. We can't move. Later that night I woke up and heard
partial movements.
Yeah, we got partial movements, but heard these distinct sharp clicking sounds outside my window. So that's another thing I've heard on these stories, is the clicking sound. Chirping sound, whistles. And again, that relates to Bigfoot again, doesn't it? Chirp, chirp, click, click, bang, bang on the walls of the trees. Throwing rocks is another one. My initial encounter was spurred. My interest in Skinwalker was on a red orb trail in my car. It transformed into a transparent grey like short alien. I've never seen a blue orb yet, and I like to place a face with each different phenomenon. Okay, so just carry on here quickly. Has blue orbs here recently? I'm in Appalachian foothills, which is where Hellier is, of course. I didn't see them much morph into anything, but nice to know it's possible. I was woken up by my cat going off the hook. To get him to chill, I was going to crack him a can of canned food. To my shock, my bedroom and dining room were filled with blue floating orbs that I could see with my naked eyes. Did a quick insanity check, rubbed my eyes, and just basically sat there in shock. They were between golf ball size and big grapefruit size. Have you heard of that before? The blue orbs? I think he might have gone. Now I've seen...
Yeah.
Oh, you're still there. You're listening. Have you heard of the blue orbs before? Robert?
Just need to go to network. Yes, I have, yes.
You got a network error, have we? Oh, yes, we have. Does that mean your sound's got...
refresh the page.
Hang on, just check your audio. Can you say something? Robert, are you there? Oh, it's resetting. But it's going good for all that time. That's because he's on Wi-Fi. You know, I think he needs to get a cable to his router. Because you got neighbours that turn theirs on, will interfere with yours. Especially if it's on the same band. Is he coming back? Come on, Robert. What are you doing? Robert, are you there?
Hello. Yeah, I am now.
Okay, you sound like you're back, and it sounds like it's all okay to me. So yeah, I was just saying, have you heard of any stories of blue orbs in the house? Related to aliens?
Yeah. I had someone come to me that actually seen one, came right up to her face until she screamed, and it shot out straight through the wall. That was a social worker as well.
Right.
But it wouldn't have been good for her to be talking about stuff like that, you know.
I weren't sure that if that was ball lightning, though. That's the only problem. But we're talking about abduction.
It right to her face. It reacted to her as well, didn't it? So I'm not sure.
Yeah. So he's talking about a whole kitchen full of these orbs floating around. So it's kind of weird. I've not heard that before. In a matter of 5 to 6 minutes, some went out right through a small oak front door and glass storm door. Since I was watching one larger one, I'm not sure if they all did. Usually I don't take incidents of strangeness very well, but this didn't induce my normal reactions of rage or fear. I see stuff like this as incursions, and typically react accordingly. Instead, I was shocked it was a peaceful event. Typically isn't, so I'm still puzzled.
Still puzzled, yeah, wow.
Right,
yeah.
So I've been told my cattle probe response is maybe over the top. What cattle probe? Didn't skim too much here.
Don't know what she's talking about there.
Maybe she means anal probe. Cattle prod response. Okay, so
no, I think she means to I think that would have been a normal. Yeah, she's just saying basically that she's shocked how dumbed down she was. She should have responded more aggressively. Just a little bit like our experience, really.
They're almost the same blue as the border on your reply box. Eh? What reply box? I don't know what he's talking about there. Semi-transparent, you could make out the room's background through the larger ones. The ones I focused on was a larger one that had two smaller ones in tow. Because I was rubbing my eyes and slapping myself in the face, I didn't think to see if any of them had the swirly face in them. So they're not too sure if it's paranormal or alien here by the sounds of it to me. But that's the other guys responding to this guy talking about aliens. Could be related, I don't know. I'll post a link to that anyway if you want to have a look over that blog place or forum or whatever it's called. Skinwalker Ranch community. So the review on this series, I don't think it's got really good reviews. Some people liked it. I kind of found it fascinating because we're looking actually into this stuff all the time, even though they didn't have any solid evidence. It was almost like someone was messing with them, like some government agency was messing with them. And in the end, they figure out, oh, look, we can actually track the email IP address. That's the first thing you would do anyway if you're going to investigate cases, try and work out if the person's location matches what they claim. But the problem is, they figured out from a computer expert, they phoned up a mate, they said, oh, he could be using a VPN and he could come anywhere in the world. But I'm not too sure on that. Whether you log into your Google Mail, will it still go to that server on the IP address, or will it work out your cookies and all that? So you have to be really technical savvy to not slip up and give off some ID somehow. But they could have seen
JavaScript is another one that can give you away.
So I find it a bit strange that they didn't send them a reply back with a link that they click to go to their website, which then would have a log of the IP address they were coming from, which is another way to do it. So there's a website you can do that you can see the picture, you can upload a picture, so did it look like this? So when they click on it, it allows you to access the IP address. So there's all sorts of tricks like that out there for investigation purpose. But the email headers is a no-go, really, because you don't know where it's coming from, really. They could simply just log into a random server, which might be in the same state as where you are, might be Canada. I think they're in Canada on the series anyway, but They thought they'd been pranked by some person that hates them, but like a hater online, like we get with people downvoting because we expose people. That they apparently had a run-in with other paranormal ghost hunting group, and they were thinking, oh, it's them that sent the initial email to try and prank them. Because as I pointed out last time, the three-toed footprint with the grooves, the what you call it, that you get on your hand, look realistic, but they could easily be faked as well. So
yeah,
you just have to watch it after the live stream. You got to spend a whole day watching it. Just watch one after the other. But so they're called Planet Weird, the channel, anyway. I'll just read out a bit of the review here.
Planet Weird's new 5-part documentary series follows husband and wife paranormal investigators Greg and Dana Newkirk as they team up with filmmaker Carl Pfeiffer and try to get to the bottom of reports of goblin-like creatures in Kentucky. Planet Weird was created by Greg and Dana, and for almost 20 years has been a hub for content relating to the paranormal, myths and legends. Over the years they've looked for proof of psychic abilities and even tried to hunt down the legendary Bigfoot. In their new web series, which is available to watch for free on YouTube, Vimeo and Hellier.tv, they attempt to get to the bottom of an unsolved supernatural mystery.
Okay. It goes on a bit. But we'll just read out a wee bit more chunk of it.
The first episode of Hellier starts slowly as there is a lot of scene setting and backstory to be told. It all started back in 2012 when Greg received a series of mysterious emails from a man calling himself David Christie. David claimed that his family were being tormented by strange goblin-like creatures, which he believed were coming from an old coal mine on his land. The email exchange contained photos of what appeared to be footprints in the mud made by a small, three-toed creature. They were also mailed by another unknown contact who used the name Terrorist, which was clearly an alias. Terry only added to the mystery, but Greg felt that his email strengthened David's claims as at one point he named the town where the events were occurring, proving he knew what was going on. He also sent them GPS coordinates that pointed to a cave that Greg and his team had recently been to investigate, which may suggest that Terry was watching their progress or was some other way in the know.
This is kind of creepy. So it means he's following them around, or he's got some sort of tracking bug on their software or laptop or something. Who knows? They may have clicked on the links, right? They may have been infected with a Trojan by looking at the footprint images in themselves. So you got to be careful of that, I guess. Even we can click links in our live streams and be infected by something that's not detectable by Avast and whatnot, right? So, because it can be tailor-made, it could be something that's not in the signatures of the virus definitions and it just slips through.
If it's not in the database, it can't pick it up.
Now, with Terry's confirmation on top of David's revelations, Greg was convinced that the case was worthy of investigation, but soon after that the mysterious David vanished and stopped replying to Greg's messages. 4 years later, Carl stumbled across the case due to a series of coincidences and weird connections that thrust it meaningfully into his world, something that Carl described as synchronicity, a term that is used frequently in the series. Carl has always been passionate about the mysterious, uncanny and supernatural in the world around him. So, he put a team together, which included Dharma and Greg Newkirk, and Connor James Randall. And this is where the story begins in episode 1.
I'll just read out what it says about episode 2 here and just round it off there. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting series, I thought. Even if you
By the midpoint of the first episode, the team had travelled to rural Kentucky, to the small town of Hellier on the trail of what were being described as hairless children, and things were starting to get really interesting. The show appeared to be a mix of urban exploration, specifically underground exploration, and ghost hunting. This was a strong and exciting mix, and I envisioned moments later in the season where the team would get excited when something would dash past a night vision camera in a disused mine. The second episode is equally engaging, as the team question locals in the town in an attempt to identify the mysterious David, or at least find out where he once lived. What makes the team's investigation so interesting is that they have a very open view of the paranormal, never assuming that a ghost is ghost or a goblin is a goblin. They are open to the possibility that they could be chasing a goblin, a spirit, an alien, or a cryptozoological oddity from another dimension.
Very true.
Yeah.
Flaky credentials. They think he might be someone that works in a university by the end of the series. And he may be using a VPN or using a university system to send the emails out from. But it's quite interesting. They go investigating, and then he replies back and says, "Why did you stop? You were so close." So obviously he knew what they were doing, or someone was keeping an eye on them. Kind of weird. Again, it's really interesting, the series.
Mm-hmm.
And then they talk about the Mothman prophecies, and some book writer talks about the code in it. That they got through their psychic visions or whatever it was, mediumship, or what you want to call it. Same as Hitler's psychic, I guess, talking to aliens.
The one possibility they don't address is the fact that given David's flaky credentials, they could actually be on a wild goose chase. Over the next few episodes it becomes more and more obvious that David never existed and the emails were merely a prank. It seems likely that Terry was in fact the same person, and this is how he knew about the case. What's more, it's likely that whoever is behind the prank knows Greg and Anna, hence knowing they visited the mountain cave. From this point on, I can't help thinking that David is sat at home watching the show, laughing at the chaos he's caused.
Yeah, so that's when they realise about the email IP address, and Terry is their friend, right? So yeah, I won't read out any more of that, so it spoils it for you, but go and check it out. I'll
That sounds a little bit ominous, though, doesn't it? You know,
Yeah.
for the whole series.
Yeah, but why would he do a prank like that? And obviously, they go looking for him, though. This is the thing. They go looking for this guy, and they go and interview
Yeah.
other locals, which give the same story accounts of what happened to them. And they saw you.
Oh,
That changes it completely for me. That means that something actually
yes, it does. Yeah.
That tells me something actually was happening there, and they saw UFOs and all this sort of stuff. And also Bigfoot, of course. But we talked about the Bigfoot and alien connection before. And I've actually got an episode about it with some cases as well, if you've not watched that. So, yeah. That's the only thing that kept them going, I think, is because they when they were driving around, they come across some locals that said, "Oh, yeah, my mate got 3-toe footprints as well," and talked about the around the cave as well, and also talked about these 4-foot creatures, and so other people were verifying this David's account and photographs. So maybe he's not a prank, maybe it's not a prank, maybe it is a. But the name, obviously, like I said, it could be an anagram of other words, like ID is third cave or something like that. It might be a clue. Might be the clue to where they're meant to be going, the location. Anyway, see what you can figure out. If you like a mystery, that's a good series. Anyway, if it's all acted, then they did a pretty good job of getting everybody involved in it. And but see what you think. It sort of comes across: are these guys for real? Are they real investigators? But if you look at their history, though, they have been on other paranormal shows where they're, I think it was Kindred Spirits they were on. You can find it on their website.
That.
Yeah, that's Amy Brunei, is it? That's from Ghost Hunters, the original series. That she went off and started doing her own thing. But apparently they were on.
Is that the American version of Ghost Hunters or the UK version?
I didn't know there was a UK version.
Yeah, there was, yeah. Ran for years, Paul.
Oh, you got mailed again for some reason. But it's alright, it's not crackling.
Okay.
From what I can hear anyway.
Yeah, you sound louder to me now for some reason as well.
Why, though? What have you done?
Don't know. Not me.
That's kind of weird. But anyway, I think that was all the connections I found. Oh, right, from the ringing. When they're in the cave, the girl talks about, can anybody else hear the ringing in the ears? And no one else could, but she could. And then she sees something in the back of the cave move. But I've posted here to the guys that ringing in the ears happens always before abductions or visitations. So, yes, I don't know. See, the guys haven't replied, and obviously you can see there's no replies back. Everybody's liked it. I sent it to Dave Scott and from, what's his name, Spaced Out Radio, because he's following these guys, and I thought he might find interest in what I talked about here. You talk about synchronicity. Well, maybe I was meant to hear about the story, which is by pure chance, to have a look at it myself, and then see some connections that they didn't, and get back to them. So maybe it's all part of what's meant to happen, you see. So really, they should be talking to me of these things that I point out, because it might be something they can look into further, and maybe make a third season, because at the moment they're just finishing off a second season. It'd be funny if the stuff I point out turns out to be in the second season, actually. If they actually did come across all that information that I just told them. But me, it's totally random, it's totally independent of what they were doing, so yeah. So that was A little readout I did there. They got the same pictures up here. So it's quite interesting though. These people actually built their houses inside a big cave. Like that. And they had all the houses inside. To protect them from some invasion. Maybe from the little people, who knows. Okay, that one I shared also. Yeah, so I suppose we talk about all the debunks out there. So that's the last bit that we need to look over. So where do I begin?
Okay, well, I need to go now, Paul.
Right.
Yeah, it's 4 a.m. here, so I'll leave you to it and have a good one, and maybe speak later, Paul. Okay. Bye now. Bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, so I must close that down then. And make that bigger. So who's out there still watching? Rene? Dal? Has he gone? But it's a bit late, I suppose, for UK people. It should suit more people in USA, but no one in USA comes to watch, do they? Apart from Rene. So, where do we begin? Which debunks do we begin with? Probably security one. And we'll go over it. So he's back. Hasn't got as many views as he normally gets there. I'll just pause it. I've got that horrible music. Put captions on. So let's go through it. He talks about why he's not been around. Just get past that bit.
Are wondering where I've been, and from the comments on many of my videos, it would seem that a good portion of you, or at least some, are angry. Gossip and speculation has gone wild, it would seem, with people thinking I've been abducted, or that I'm in a hole somewhere in Venezuela hiding out, or that I've had some sort of breakdown. And while I appreciate all of the spectacular tales being told about me, I've already basically said in a couple of videos and on Twitter and Facebook basically what was going on over this past month or two.
So we're looking at all these things that he's adding up here can be all explained. Obviously black squares are missing data, but also it's been known that it has been edited as well by Street Cat 1 because they found the original images which didn't have the missing square. That there, we'll come back to it. We'll just have a listen to it, and then we'll come back and break it down for everybody what all the stuff is that we're looking at.
I can only say that family, at the end of the day, takes precedence over everything else, and I simply could not work, wasn't in the mind frame to work, and I didn't just want to slap up videos when I wasn't 100% there. So that is why I haven't posted, and as things have finally started to calm down on that front, I will be quietly coming back to the channel, doing what I love to do, and doing what all of you guys love to watch and to listen to, and that is all of the strange stuff happening around the world. And I appreciate all of you.
It goes on a bit, so can we skip past that?
UFOsightingsdaily.com, Scott Waring discovered. He posted a video about it where he was going over some SOHO imagery. Now, you guys know that we have these satellites that are orbiting our sun, taking constant photos or images and video of our sun, many different cameras and instruments. And so one day, Scott was looking over the sun, and we've caught many UFOs on these cameras in the past. You're looking at some of those UFOs here, some of my favorites. These things seem to proliferate around our sun, and in many cases will linger there, sometimes for days, weeks, even months, and they take a variety of shapes. from things like these massive Star Trek looking ships, like you're seeing here. Here you're seeing a capture of one of these elongated craft or cigar-shaped craft. We see many of those, and it would seem that these cylinder or cigar-shaped craft are seen more than any of the other shapes.
Okay, so he's talking a lot of rubbish there, of course. So yeah, so all these different things that people have noticed. And then we got Scott C. Warren has put out some more garbage saying this can't be a black hole, but it looks like a hole in the cloud layer, doesn't it, of a normal cloud, and you can see it deforms as he plays
It would
it.
seem that over a period of at least weeks to months, there was a black triangle UFO seen moving across the sun, at times disappearing into the sun
Does
and
it
coming
look
back
like a
out,
triangle?
but definitely
No,
looks like
not really.
a black triangular-shaped object of some sort. And, well, I will play you a clip from his
Triangular-shaped.
video, and you guys can tell me what you think, and we'll talk more in just a second, so check this out.
Should download it.
Something on the lens. Things on the lens will not traverse across the sun, okay? This object, it actually moves across the sun. And so I'm going to show you proof of that, and I'm even going to show you the sun itself. Okay, hold on. Let me show you. Okay, let's get rid of this. Here is that triangle UFO. Is this amazing or what? And
No.
I have it going all the way back to June 8th, okay? Going back to June 8th. And, yeah, I had to say that in my head. Okay, June 8th, and it's coming. As you see, it's moving across the sun. It's not the camera that's moving here. This is a close-up of that certain area. And you can see this object caught on the surface of the sun. And I believe it.
Okay, so what we're looking at here is a speck of dust that's actually on the external lens of the satellite camera. And obviously the solar wind moves particles around space, and obviously in the upper atmosphere, and then it gets stuck on the lens, and eventually they have like a wiper or something that wipes it, like they have on the rover. The rover also gets specks on the camera, but you can see there it was definitely not a black hole. But it doesn't mean that you don't get black holes that size, because I've gone through it here somewhere. Is that one? So I talked about Soho image artifacts here. I think I posted a couple times here. So I got some images here. So this one here, that they claim was a UFO, there's actually Mercury passing in front of the sun, and the lines going either side of it is actually part of the camera artifact. When you get on CC cameras that we talked about, so we've got an image here of Mercury. There you go. That's pointed out as Mercury. Circle with the line going through it. So the line's caused by what's called Blumen, CCD camera Blumen effect. I'll just close that one. I wanted to go back. Let's see. Can we get back to it? There we go. Was it on that one? I posted it here somewhere. Must be on the next one. Also, further on, he puts up this one here too. That's UFO interest as debunked. Where's the image links? YouTube. It wasn't on that one. Here we go. I think it was here. Was it? Two links here. One puts a thumbnail, the other one doesn't. So I'll just open up that one. This talks about CCD artifacts. This is why you got to understand technology. Here's some examples of stargazing. They call it Blumen and Streaken artifacts, which is definitely what you're getting on the sun camera. Which is where too much light bleeds over the cell of the internal ones inside here, bleeds over and creates a line. So it gives a detailed explanation here. So we'll just read out that bit there. Looks like that scared them off.
CCD saturation and blooming are related phenomena that occur in all charge-coupled device CCD image sensors under conditions in which either the finite charge capacity of individual photodiodes or the maximum charge transfer capacity of the CCD is reached. Once saturation occurs at a charge collection site, accumulation of additional photo-generated charge results in overflow or blooming of the excess electrons into adjacent device structures. A number of potentially undesirable effects of blooming may be reflected in the sensor output, ranging from white image streaks and erroneous pixel signal values, as illustrated in Figure 1, to complete breakdown at the output amplification stage, producing a dark image.
Okay, so we've got a circuit diagram, well, a block diagram, and how the silicon works and why we get artifacts, because it's not the same as our eyes. It's got to convert it by technology. Vertical overflow drain structure. So you can see it's quite scientific and technical. Anti-blooming involves particularly clocking the CCD during integration to prevent any pixel from reaching the saturation thing. So you think of it as like a cup of water. Once it gets over the rim, it starts bleeding into the sink, or it bleeds into the cups next to it. So you have cups, 3 cups next to each other. When the middle cup overflows, it puts extra liquid into the other 2 either side of it, or around it, 4 cups around it. So that's how you can sort of look at it in lay terms. So I'll post that there if you want to go and read out through all the technical side of it. But there's some good examples here that looks like the same artifacts but in the opposite direction. Depends which way you got the camera rotated, I guess. The CD sensor rotated, that is. So we're looking at that. Okay. And we got also a list of examples of SOHO images, because it's only one set of cameras. There's also SDO and what's the other one? Lycus, is it? So there's Helliers at work with the SOHO one. They this is why they got the different color filters. So they put a different color filter in to look at different wavelengths of light, and then they combine it together. It's like RGB, you know, and it gives you a 3-dimensional a look inside through the spectrums. So here's another example here where they're talking about pole shift and earth changes. On this site here, this guy's posted here some examples of SOHO images, artifacts. Planets, they always look very strange in LASCO. Well, that's one of them. Images, because they're so bright that the image blooms and the CD pixels bleed along the readout rows. Okay, so he's got an image here. So we've got Venus, Jupiter, Saturn and Mercury over here, and you can also see the star formations over the back here. What's this black line here? That's caused by how the camera's made, and that's the part of the camera where there's no sensor, because it's got to hold the bits to create a image. I'm not sure if we've got any pictures of how that's implemented or not. The white circle in the middle of the image indicates the size of the sun. Okay, really? So that's the size of the sun, so the burst goes further up then, does it? Blocked out by an occulting disk to show the surrounding corona. Okay, so the sun is blocked out, so that's talking about the sun, so you only see the outer on this particular type of camera processing. The horizontal lines are not planetary rings but pixel bleeding. Okay, cosmic rays, high energy particles from the solar wind, which is what I was talking about too, and from the galaxy as a whole, whip around the SOHO spacecraft and interact with the detectors. These produce spots and streaks on the detector ranging from a single pixel to a large streak that spans a large fraction of the image. These most evident during a solar storm and can be seen on this hot shots page, but all are always present at some level. Okay, sometimes you see a cosmic ray seem to persist in the web images for 2 or more frames. This is because we lose a certain percentage of data coming down from the spacecraft. In LICO, such losses appear as square blocks, which is what I pointed out earlier in the image. The software which puts the images up on the web will fill in these blocks from the last good image, and if a cosmic ray in that block from the previous image, it will appear in the image as well. The way to check for this is to look for the new data files. So they fill in the missing block details with the last frame and correct it later. So what have we got here? Software glitches. Occasionally we have some problems with the software which produces the images for the web, and strange artifacts will appear in the data. These glitches are usually corrected within a few days. In fact, we had a couple of incidents that recently. Okay, so we talked about also lint being inside the camera when it was manufactured. That gets in the way of one of the particular images processors they use. Some of these are done by obviously natural light, some are done by electromagnetic energy or other wavelengths like radar. Detector defects. These are defects which appear in the camera from time to time, sometimes temporary and sometimes permanent. I remember seeing a website which claimed that the strange lights were hovering over the lower left limb of the sun in EIT images, and thought to myself, you only notice that? Those defects have been around forever and were seen in the lab even before SOHO was launched. Debris, small pieces of aging insulation on the outside of the spacecraft, dust particles, micrometeorites can show up on the pictures. So that's what that black image of from the hoaxer Scott C. Warren was putting up with the triangle craft. This is exactly what we're looking at here. The debris lists an image page for more details. Obviously there's going to be a link here. On a general subject of UFO claims from SOHO images, one should be aware that a lot of the supposed UFO pictures taken by SOHO have been modified by the proponents. For example, looking at the image that is distributed with the news release for the upcoming UFO conference, it's obvious that the picture is taken from a tiny number of pixels in the camera and then passed through some kind of smooth filter to make it look like a craft with a rounded edge. They should at least have the courage to show the actual data and not something which has been manipulated in Photoshop. So they're talking about UFO conferences. and obviously YouTube channels out there like Secure Team, which is just regurgitating the same old nonsense which has been debunked a million times already. I've already said it probably 3 or 4 times, but I haven't come across these pages before, so that's why I'm doing these ones. That's all said. I should be noted that we do see objects moving in Soho images. Yes, we do. Over 500 comets have been discovered. And you also see some actually what they call sudden grazers that create a trail. And also some actually smash into the sun. The gravity attracts it. Highly motivated to find them, but none of them have ever turned out to be anything other than comets. Some of them are pretty big too, big as the Earth, or bigger than Earth. So here we got another link. I'll just bring that one up. Not private. Who cares? It's a VPN. Okay, so now we've gone to the LASCO page. I suppose that's how you say it. List of debris. Right, I thought they were going to have some images for us. Following images, here we go. Let's try that one. The link doesn't exist anymore. That's bad programming. Okay, how about the other one? Forbidden. Well, that's no good, so we can't have a look at that page. Probably doesn't like me having a VPN. Bad, bad, bad. They want to track who's looking. So, what else we got here? Very small particles and small angles from the sun get illuminated by the bright sun and easily seen. Usually the space environment is very clean, but sometimes a streak is observed. Even more rare are images with multiple streaks indicating more than one particle. So that one that he had at the beginning here, whereabouts was it? This one here. Okay. Oh, here we go. No. So that's obviously dust or gamma corruption. I'm not too sure on that one, but it will be explained. Where's that one I'm looking for? That's lint. Apparently a piece of cotton or something inside the lens creates that one. Let's see. Now this one here is what he's talking about. An energetic particle creates these lines going across the screen. Nothing to do with UFOs, obviously. So yeah. Did I post that link to this? Soho images. Oh, we got some images down the bottom here. So that's a planet. What's he trying to explain here? That's a comet coming in. A comet. think there was a picture of a comet passing somewhere here. I'm not sure if it was on that link or not. But yeah, I think we pretty much explained all those ones there. So that's a energetic particle that's missing data from it being transmitted down. It's only got a certain amount of memory, and of course, you know, it's obviously going to be older technology to what we've got on Earth at the moment, because it takes years to put it up there. And they use the best technology they got at the time. And of course, you can't store all these images permanently. So energetic particle, can't quite see that one. I think that again is a bit of debris that's passing the lens or on the lens. Depends if it floats around. And this one also looks like there's a bit of what they said could be paint chips. You know, meteorites hit the outside of the sensor. They got that white coating and it creates a paint chip that sort of breaks off, and because it's electrostatic charged, gets attracted to the lens and just sits on the lens until it blows off with the solar wind. So no spacecraft. This one here again could be similar. It could be, I'm not too sure on this one, but it might be in the reading. You just have to read up everything. It's either going to be a radiation gamma burst where it affects the sensor, or it's going to be a bit of debris passing the lens. I think that again is similar. It's because space is not so clean, you know. V ones. Looks like a wishbone. Again, that's going to be debris, I think, on that one. I think that's pretty much it covered there. And that brings us to this one here. I'll just play that in a minute. So hopefully we're done with the Soho UFOs. Like they said, some objects are obviously big chunks of rock passing the sun, like they call comets. That's done. Okay, so apparently this next clip is actually a hoax that security team has put up. So we'll just play that bit here.
To be a grouping of objects captured via telescope passing behind the moon, not in front but behind. And so unfortunately I don't have a location, who is behind the footage, so I can't 100% say it's real, 100% say it's false, but as of right now, it looks pretty legit to me. I've looked at a ton of telescopic footage over the years, but at the very least, while we're trying to figure out more about it, I thought I'd post it. You guys tell me what you think. I mean, we have been documenting these UFOs above the moon for years, some of which we know for 100% fact are real and from real footage. For instance, I like to go back to the Apollo missions because we know that these were filmed by astronauts. They're part of the public record. And you have videos such as this captured during the Apollo 11 mission. And this is film. This is 16mm DAC footage captured on film of objects flying down into craters.
Okay, that was just an ice particle that broke off the outside of this while they were filming. Just simply passed in front of the camera. It looks like there's a big object passing underneath them, but it's actually just passing the lens.
As the astronauts orbited the moon. And there were many more objects like this captured during the moon missions. And so tell me what you guys think of this new clip. I'll try to find some more information about it. And lastly today, in, I guess you could call it strange weather news, some images of originally massive lakes down in Mexico that have vanished or totally evaporated overnight, leaving locals totally stunned. In a new article here by...
Yeah, so apparently, if they don't get a lot of snowfall on the Alps down there, on the mountain ranges, generally it melts off and fills up the lakes. So if they have a lack of snowfall, there's one excuse for it. But also they have sinkholes, which suck all the water down into caverns, lava tubes. And there's apparently a big volcano underneath there that also creates that, obviously. It's on a series called Contact at the moment. They go and dive underneath and figure out this as well. So I guess there's always brought it up as he's seen the series on TV. But you can actually Google that yourself. Why are the lakes, where was it? Peru, was it? Or Brazil, I'm not sure. Peru disappearing. And of course, they're blaming climate change, but it's obviously a big volcano underneath. It's obviously going to evaporate it. So, yeah, here we go. Second largest lake dries up and may be gone forever. Lost to climate change, they claim here. NASA satellites show Bolivia's Lake Poo-Poo filled with water on April 2013. Left and almost dry in January 3 years later, 2016. Overturned fishing skiffs abandoned on the shores. So we got some other things here. Second largest lake dries up, gone forever. So yeah. So they're claiming it's climate change, but I think volcano underneath. Volcano, which they didn't know was there. Let's see if that comes up better. As the rainy season peters out, the 9-foot deep lake loses its water source and water disappears down. Hey, look, lava tubes. That's what I just said. Until it's gone. So that's probably a more recent post instead of just blaming climate change. The media lies about climate change, makes a big deal of it. Obviously, climate change happens all the time. It gets hot, it gets cold. It's all related to the Earth's cycles and the sunspots and all that sort of stuff. But they're trying to blame man's most of the cause of it, and man's probably only a fraction of the cause of it. So, but it's all like a political thing and agendas and money, of course. So, collection of these non-volcanic rivers. Probably have to read more of that one. But anyway, it's pretty boring. Who cares, you know? So, obviously they can't rely on a lake being near if it's got a volcano underneath it. So, and maybe they need to make artificial lakes. And then put fish in it. But yeah, is that a sinkhole on that one there? There you go, look. That sort of tells you, doesn't it? Whereabouts is that, though? Is that in America? Draining into a hole. Lava tube. Of course, it's going to evaporate as well. Because it's hot. So that's in Oregon there. Because they got a lot of limestone underneath which corrodes away. And of course then the sinkhole happens and then whole lakes and all that can disappear into it. So yeah, just do a search around and read. So this one here, where he reckons it's a legit ant. So let's have a look what the UFO Interest has said. Known hoaxer, promoter like security team are sharing this video as legit. Flying behind the moon, taken with a telescope by an anonymous, obviously astronomer. It's a fake fabricated by YouTube Alien Planets. Thanks to Hope Hoaxer who found the source. Okay, so to those who are wondering how the Alien Planet fabricated the fake, they used one of lots of pictures available on the web, add in the UFOs and the green filter in CGI, also cropping and editing the original size of the picture used as background. So there's the photograph they used, and then they shrink it down, change the angle, and add in the fake UFOs. That's fairly obvious though, isn't it? So I'll post that one down there if you want to have more of that one look at. So we're done with that one, hopefully. Actually, I might just have a look what else is on his page here. Same thing again. By the looks of it. A flock of birds often mistaken for UFOs. So let's have a look at that one. Okay. Obviously that's the star formation, and here's the birds flying across. Definitely looks like birds on security camera or thermal camera. But yeah, you can see here that I was talking about triangle craft on some of the pictures submitted to MUFON on thermal camera. Is actually just stars, and they just work out very good equilateral triangles for the star formations, the bright ones. And you can change the pickup sensitivity of it so to tone out some of the other stars and create fake videos of that. So what's everybody saying here? Small night vision scope. So yeah, you're going to have to use apps like Heavens Above to eliminate it being International Space Station, other satellites passing overhead, and you need to use something like Flight Radar 24 to eliminate it being planes flying overhead. But normally you'd hear that though if they're low down. If they're high up at 40,000 feet, obviously you're not going to hear a passenger jet. But some of the planes don't appear on flight radar, which is a problem because the military can turn it off. Because flight radar is not actually radar data. They use what they call call sign tracking, which sends a caller ID pretty much back to base and says we're over this GPS location. Of course, the military can turn it off and go dark, which makes it a bit more complicated. So we can close that one down now. So that's security done with. So he's back, but he's already put up a lot of BS that we just totally debunked there. Thanks, Taylor. Yeah. Damn it, man. Where the hell you been? Who cares? Let's see. Love that's more important than family. So they're all talking about him. Missed you. Why do they miss him? I just don't get it. Do they understand that they're being conned? Let's see, how much has he made on this one here? As long as Google hasn't disabled his ads, which I don't know because I've got ad blocker thing on. If he's got 3 ads in it, you multiply it by 3, and you get $1 per 1,000 views. That should be like $1,000 there. But then you got ad blocker. So you got to sort of halve that. So it might be like $600 that you made from that stupid video there. So, and of course then you got the Patreon people, 1,500 of those. Probably works out to be between $2,000 and $5,000 or $6,000, depending how much they're donating. So yeah, he's doing alright, even though he puts up one video a month now. So that brings us on to the next one, which is Third Phase of the Moon. So we'll just bring up their one. And debunk it. So they actually put up a few ones that we just looked at. We looked at the face one at start. What's the one they put up here? Probably haven't looked at them. Could be this one here, is it? This one here, the Russian one. I'll just have a quick look at that one first. Sounds like they got some Russian music. Speed it up a bit. So, what do you think of this one, guys? Oh, we've got one person watching.
Be supplying the original links below. What did he capture within the past 24 hours?
Вот эта штука продолжает гореть и висеть в небе.
Oh, look at the drastic music they got. So wherever that place was, and 28th of August, whatever it was. 22nd of August, was it? Oh, scary music. So what are we looking at here? Looks like I'm going to have to mute it. It's too annoying. Could that be like a illumination flare drop happening there? Because they do a lot of military exercises. And this was before the G8, whatever it was, meeting that was happening next door. So this location is normally overseas where they drop flares, isn't it? So it does look like flares drop though, doesn't it? See how it's got the streaks coming down. No one else seems to be fascinated by it. And you can see how it's sort of twinkling. I think I saw one go out then. Some people thought it might be plane landing lights. But obviously you can't keep it centered. They look like parachuted flares, illumination flares coming down. Shadow base. What's these guys talking about? Russia does it again. I don't think it's landing or planes coming down. I think it's just illumination flares. Russians drop those quite a lot of times. You've seen a lot of UFO videos over the years where they talked about TR-3Bs, and they've taken a cherry pick frame, 23rd of August. Which was my birthday week. Definitely looks like illumination flares because they're saying it's not flares. It's far off, obviously, because you don't see the smoke. And because they're super bright, you see them from a long distance away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. And then there's 4. So they're going out within 20 minutes. Definitely not UFOs. Shouldn't be on a UFO channel. It's just nonsense. And of course, if it was UFOs, wouldn't they submit it to MUFON Russia? I guess there's some people that investigate it. Because I know they want to put up on their channel to get views, and they send it to Third Phase to try and get all their followers to jump over. So here's the one I want to look at now. This one here, the TR3B. And get this one debunked with. Alright. Okay.
Base out of Portland, Oregon, in the northeast of Portland, just off the Columbia River, and we've got incredible evidence right now coming into our Gmail, photographs of something that appears to be the best evidence of a Tier 3B, in my opinion. Brent, I want to get your thoughts. We've got information coming in from Anaheim, including something captured in Europe. But let's get to this right now, this Tier 3B images. Right now, Brent, what do you think here?
Blake, this is good.
Yeah, so some people said it was a moth, but I don't think so. To me, it looks like it could be like a canvas.
Real good. I got
In a form of a kite frame. And I did some enhancements to it. Where you can actually see what looks like it could be a fishing line. I'll just open it up. That's meant to be an arrow. Yeah, you can see here, it looks like there's something covered this way, which could be a fishing line, which is very hard to detect. There could be some other lines here, look, another one coming this way, which makes sense for one of these triangle-shaped kites. So let's go here. Okay, so there's the image here, but what's interesting, I found something that looks very similar. I'll get it up here, which is like a remote control, which they call RC, flying wing, which has like either a little fan motor in the middle, which kind of looks like it might have, and blows the air out the back here. So it could be like a suction there, out there, and they just put some LED lights on it to light it up, to make it look more like a TR3B. You can see here, this one actually has a square panel on it. It looks like a white thing, same way. So could it be this or a new paint job? It looks very similar, doesn't it? And you can see the guy there flying it. You can see it's quite big. Or is it one of these kites here that has like a double rib connector on it instead of a single one down the middle? It has a V-shaped connector in the middle. Don't think it's alien craft myself. Here's another image on a different angle. I didn't actually. That's the one I said looked like. Oh no, that wasn't the one. The previous image near the gutter or whatever it was, going the other way, which is where the fishing lines may have been. So yeah, it's either a lead kite or it's a RC flying wing that's been modified slightly. Well, the colours have been dropped out here. Finally, see the clickbait title here. What did they say? Appears to be the best evidence of a Terra 3B, which is kind of funny, in my opinion, Brent. Finally, it's about to get real. Clickbait title: TR3B Pang Base Portland. So yeah, these guys haven't changed. Clickbait to try and get views. Oh, right, I've got some artifacts here I missed. I'll go back to the artifacts. So here's that streak. I might just go back over that again because I've got a page there. What was this one? Oh yeah, it's talking about sunspots. Sunspots. So they could be any size really. But I'll go back to that one in a minute. And this guy here, might have to leave him for another time. Called Intersect, and he got kicked off Martin Willis show, so we might come back to him. I did some quick analysis on his video, and it's this BS, but you can see here autoplay's turned on again, even though I keep turning it off.
Gotta say, we're getting actually multiple accounts from people that are seeing it from Cascade Park, and Park Rose actually contacted us within hours of this posting and said they were seeing something very strange. This is basically a confirmation of what's going on, and what I like about it is that it seems to be following the riverway of Washington, Oregon, the Columbia River, and there's multiple sightings. Pretty exciting. Yeah, so you gotta think this happened on the 29th. Just a couple days ago, and people are stating from Woodland, from Irvington, Grant Park, Rose City Park, that they saw something strange in the skies, and people are saying it was headed in the direction of Columbia River. So this is interesting, and it is close to the Pang base. So is there a correlation? Is this the infamous TR-3B ready to make a grand entrance to the public? Well, I'm not exactly sure. Brett, what's your thoughts on the size of this thing, and what do you think it could be?
Yeah, David killed it on these photos, and you can say that I'm going to rule out right now that these...
That's all blurry and out of focus. How did he kill it there, Brent? Oh, these guys are just a comedy act, aren't they? So what do these guys say down the bottom here? So they only got 32,000 views compared to Secure Team. And so I'm not sure how many ads they got on it, but put it up to 120. So they would have made $50 off that, probably, of that piece of nonsense. It's better than having to work. How many hours work would that be? 4 or 5 hours work? Put up a 10-minute and talk utter BS about it. Anyone else pick up things I did with it? A kite, maybe? Drone? Well, actually a RC toy. Flying wing. And why did one person only get to photograph it? Where was everybody else? And why did they only take photographs and not a video? Because the video would have the noise as well of the motor, which would give it away straight away. Super great video. No. These people are just crazy. Anyway, was there anything else on this video? I don't think there was. Just repeating. Oh, this one here too. So, what's this guy capturing? 4 lights in the sky above a balloon. So is he filming the balloon? And could this again be lights reflected in a window on the ceiling? That's my gut feeling. But these guys think it's not a reflection. So let's play it.
Captured, take a look at this. Captured August 29th.
Well, don't seem to be moving the lights, do they? And he's moving the camera with his hand. I think, is the angle changing at all? I'm not seeing it.
De bron gaat nou naar beneden en verdwijnt achter het huis, achter de schoorsteen. En diezelfde lichten hangen er nu weer.
Could it be 4 skydivers coming down with the hot air balloon? What's happened here?
Ja, komt weer licht bij.
It suddenly
Lijnt
changed the
langzaam
angle,
weer.
didn't he?
Je ziet de ballon.
What's that there? It's like a person standing in the window there. Wondering what this guy's filming, probably.
Achter het huis. En gewoon een stukje weer tevoorschijn komen. Hij is gezakt. En ja, deze ballonvaarders moeten deze lichten zien. Ja, komt het licht weer tevoorschijn.
Well, it doesn't look like UFOs, does it? So what are we looking
En
at?
het gekke is dus, die ballon hing
Oh,
dus.
right. The lights are still there. So if it's skydivers, it should be coming down further by now. I still think it's a reflection of lights behind the guy. He's
Tussen die
faking
lichten
it.
en begon ineens heel snel te zakken. Je ziet dus nu die ballon dus niet meer. Die begint nu dus te dalen.
Yeah, I can see the lights there faint. You probably could enhance it, probably. Let's just try and do that, actually. See if we can actually pick it up. It's on the wrong screen. Okay. Have a look. Download folder. Yep, I have. Open .net. Well, brightness is not doing much, but you notice when you make it darker, turning the brightness down, that those lights stay lit up. Which tells me it's got to be a reflection. Let's try changing colors. Why is the camera not picking up the other two lights though? Look like spotlights on the ceiling to me. The other two are up here. Maybe they turned them off now. I think it's a fake. Can't see how it would be like a cloud, because it would have been changing by now. If it was me, I would say, can you take a snatch or spin around of your camera video, film it behind you, come back around again, and then we'd see. But it's interesting how they moved, and it sort of two lights disappeared again. Anyway, I think it's just ceiling lights again.
Whatever they are, were they attracted to the balloon and made themselves available for everybody to see? Because what we're seeing are lights basically as large as these huge balloons that they carry people in. It's amazing. So,
Okay, you see the movement too. You saw a bird fly across the sky there. These seem to be in the same movement as this, but the birds were different. Let's have a look again. Oh, they're back again.
yeah, it's so strange. We got a little bit of the video, and you see that there's a hot air balloon kind of descending in this video, but what in the world are these lights next to it? Were these lights, whatever they are, were they attracted to the balloon and made themselves available? for everybody to see, because what we're seeing are lights basically as large as these
I think this will be
huge balloons that they carry people in. It's amazing.
So I'm wondering if this could be some kind of reflection within possibly a home or a car windshield.
Yeah.
What do you think, Brent? Can we rule out a lens or some kind of glare on a window here, a windshield?
Yeah, absolutely. You can see the way he's moving the camera, and Robert, basically, you could tell he's not faking this. I know. You can tell just in the video what you're seeing is a real deal.
Right, Brent. Any last words on this before we get to the new video coming in?
These guys are nowhere near experts. So there's something else here. What are we looking at here? I think we've seen this before, haven't we? South America?
Something else. UFOs and the fleets that swarm over Los Angeles. Is this one of those events?
Yeah, it could be lead balloons again, because we've seen something similar to this before. Often it's Chinese lanterns. Yeah. I think it might be lead. I think that one's lead balloons, but anyway, not UFOs again. Get rid of those guys. So yeah, let's have a look at these artifacts page. Okay, we got so that's the one of the meteorite I was looking for. Obviously I didn't find the link before. Oh yeah, here's a meteorite coming in. I mean a comet, they call it. And there's some other bits, pieces popping up. Up there. Just popped up there for a split second. I'll just post it down the side, that one. Sun artifacts, camera artifacts. There's quite a few of them. Yeah, coming up to 3 hours already. Okay, so we've talked about blue. Oh, here we go. Sun. What have we got here? Asteroids coming in. Did it go around the backside of the sun, or did it get sucked into it? And this is a planet. So what they say here? Spacecraft compiled from data 2010. A sun grazing comet streams across the sky. Venus is visible just to the below right, so that's Venus. The bleeding of the excess signal along the detector's columns, often the heads of the bright comets, will show the same apparition. But I can't see on that one. And what do we got here? Different snow. NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory captured this X7 major solar flare erupting. That one there, I guess. The flare caused very bright saturation and blooming artifacts above and below the flare. So that must be this one here too, is it? Causing extended diffraction patterns to spread out in the X formation across the SDO image. So this is a different image, different camera. stereo. Is it stereo? Does that stand for stereo? Abandoned. A final example, we look at highly energetic particles that travel through space. Some of these are known as solar energetic particles originate from the sun, while others, known as galactic cosmic rays, come from the outer solar system. And there's that one there that secure team put up. So they're just particles of energy. Produce bright bands or streaks of light. These were observed by the stereo chronograph. Although they may seem pesky, these artifacts and anomalies are normal, expected results from properly functioning spacecraft. But they remind us that the images, like any other form of data, don't speak for themselves. What we see is a product both of nature and the instruments we use. So there you go. Getting that Debunk secure team. And what have we got here? Let's talk about sunspots. Here you put filters on so you don't burn off your burn the sensor on the camera. Because they want to block out the light so they can see it clearly. Well, you can see here we got 2 images highlight the difference on disk contrast and the amount of detail visible. So I'm talking about how bright you have it. So we got little solid spots up here and here. Plaque, filament, they got different names for them. Filament, that looks almost like a TR3B there. I'll post that link as well. But you can see the sunspots are not really big. Even though they're as big as our planet, that's how big the sun is. The sun is massive. Well, unfortunately, there's only going to be one in the whole world that have watched my stream here and would have learnt what the Soho artifacts are, and they'll forever be watching Secure Team and thinking they're UFOs and being misled. This takes a wee bit of research, understanding of technology. I don't know it all, that's why I have to do the research and read what's on the pages here. And about the technology of the cameras, and I try and understand how it all works. So if I can do it, other people can do it. You don't have to be a PhD person. So I might just leave this one till next time, and I will do an analysis next weekend on that one. No time for MUFON stuff again, so I'll leave it there for now. I'll just close that down. So yeah, thanks for joining us, and I'll say good night. I hope you liked the front bits where we're doing comparison of the aliens and Robert telling us about his strange ET visit. It was kind of weird, but it was very similar to my own experience. Apparently there was a whole spate of them happening around about the same time, according to Earl as well. So there may be something bigger going on. Maybe it's all related to him, who knows. All the people that we're in contact with. Maybe someone's keeping an eye on us. So I'll just switch here and say goodnight and just play the end credits. please help like and share what everybody does. I will get more views on BitChute than I do on YouTube. YouTube is dying slowly.